Right, back to the water. I think I've cleared away all the trainers between us and the islands now, but we'll see if there are any at the islands themselves. Kind of an odd place for another trainer to be waiting. Sounds fun, just try not to end up sleeping with them. That's more than a little awkward. A trained Pokemon as strong as that wild tentacle we ran into earlier. These should be interesting. Again, the exchange seems pretty even, but it looks like Garm's gonna win by virtue of being the first one to strike. Okay, apparently I'm not gonna bother talking to her after we beat her. That feels a bit rude to me, especially since we spoke to absolutely everyone else after battling them before we got to her. Sure, the dialogue we've seen in this game has been so forgettable outside of sheer memeable inanity, and maybe a few actually interesting tidbits scattered here and there. But I still feel a bit guilty I didn't check to see what she actually said afterwards, just rushing to the Pokemon Center to heal Garm after the fight. I'm not even sure why I feel guilty about not talking to that random trainer after we beat her. And I somehow doubt I'm gonna talk to her when we come back after healing. Okay, just noticed what seems to have been a bit of an accounting error for the scores of Garm and Neo on my part. Since their scores have been so close for so long, it seems I may have made a mistake at some point. Since in one score file, I marked Neo as 90 and Garm as 89, while in another that I used for safety, I marked it for some reason as Neo at 93 and Garm at 91. Which makes no sense, since both files claim that the team's overall score is 722. Not that much of an issue, since they're competing with last place there, and it's not like the score really means much of anything, especially this far into the game, but it inexplicably made me panic a bit there. At the very least, it gave me something to talk about for a little bit as we get started working on the puzzle of this dungeon. It's most likely to be, inaccurate somehow at this stage, but I marked Neo as 91 and Garm at 90. The math looks right for the team's overall score, and Neo has more frequently been above Garm than Garm has been above Neo. Not the most precise method to fix that kind of issue, but 63 clips in, I don't feel all that tempted to watch plenty of previous clips just to see how many each of the two actually took down. Again, the scorekeeping was more for the sake of giving me more ammo to talk about than because I actually felt it was important. Anyway, this cave system has a bit of an annoying gimmick. To get where we want to go, we have to push some rocks into the various holes in the ground. And it's about as easy to lose track of what you're doing with the large encounter rate as it is to lose track of how many trainer wins a Pokemon might have this many clips into the game. Part of me wants to be surprised that Aurora Beam didn't do more damage, sort of a combination of me thinking that Ice-type hitting fire should have the same effect as water, and thinking the move should have been more powerful even without the type advantages. It's great. Now I can't help thinking just how unimpressive various types are despite having some awesome creatures in their roster all the way back in the first generation. Ghost and Bug types are the easiest to pick on here, since they literally can't counter the type they were meant to counter on the web of strengths and weaknesses. but really a lot of other types got shafted in the first generation as well. Fighting, ice, and dragon certainly come to mind. Really? That's all he could do with a single super effective hit there. Good God, I've got to come up with something else to say whenever that happens. I've said it in far too many clips in a row here. I probably should have just dropped down the same hole we shoved the rocks through. Sure, I'd lose track of where we are a lot more easily, but we'd have fewer random encounters to deal with. Hell, the sheer number of random encounters has made me lose track anyway. So many great water types, but we've already got a designated water boy on the team. Well, we're half done on this floor. Great, the strongest Pokemon we've seen in a while, and it's facing a weakened Marbleback. And of course, Ice type is strong against grass. In my defense, just how often do we run across Pokemon with ice attacks in this game anyway? And of course, the cave system that has Articuno in it is gonna be infested with ice attacks! Right, so a current we can't see just pushed us down even though the water gives no indication that it has a rapid current. And for some reason in the next screen, we're going up instead of down. Yeah. Well, hello there, Articuno. Sorry I'm not going to play with you in any way, shape, or form. You are my absolute favorite of the three birds of Kanto, unfortunately. I'm rather satisfied with the team we've built up thus far in the game. And since this isn't a game like Final Fantasy, fighting against the elemental beast and defeating it in a straight brawl isn't going to be especially fulfilling. Even if Articuno is at level fucking 50 last time I checked, and could potentially crush our team on his own. The challenge is to try to capture him after all. Knocking him out might get us experience points, but with the sheer number of random encounters we're getting plenty of that down here anyway. Well, Marbleback is leveled up, and I have no clue how much longer this cave is gonna take. Literally the instant we push the rock down the hole. This is just ridiculous. The random encounter rate probably wouldn't feel so annoying if it wasn't for the fact that a lot of places we go through, like the Rocket Base and Sylph Tower, have no random encounters but still give us plenty of fights and plenty of challenge getting from point A to point B. Hell, the encounter rate in the caves is higher than when we're walking through grass or surfing through the water, which is not helped by the fact that we're trying to figure out how to move forward Well, we're constantly getting bombarded with enemies constantly showing up out of nowhere. Some role players can pull that off pretty well without disorienting the player due to camera angles and all that. But maybe that's unfair of me to complain about when I haven't let's played too many role players at this point. Something that'll probably change as the years keep going by, but still. I've got the distinct feeling I'm going to have to come back to these islands after pulling back to Fuchsia for some more healing. Yet somehow, this doesn't feel as annoying to me as Dark Cave did. I'm not sure if that's because we don't have to deal with trainers on top of the random encounters, or just the fact that we have some actual visibility around here. Great, now I can't help wondering what typing Clamp has. It's clearly not a normal type attack like I thought it was. At least I could manage to tell based on the name what type Aurora Beam was earlier in here. Though to be fair, for some reason Karate Chop is normal. Not fighting, even though I would have thought a move named after something martial arts related would be a fighting type move. Right, I think that means we're done here. Certainly surprised I managed to solve that in a single run, but I appreciate it. Besides, technically speaking, we have one more dungeon to do after this one. The Burned Mansion. Then we can go on for the Fire Gym. Wow, the Seafoam Islands were a lot less strenuous than I was expecting. Still, we're pretty worn down and there are a number of trainers between us and Cinnabar from here. Not to mention we're gonna keep on getting random encounters while we're still in the water. Not as many as when we were in the cave, but still. And Kohaku levels up as he gets his 111th win. Doesn't look like there's anyone else still on level 40. Phyllis, time for you to have some more fish before we get to the Fire Island. Right, assuming we don't run out of ammo for our preferred moves on the way to the next Pokemon Center, we should still be good. Sorry about that, but we're getting pretty close to the end of our journey, so I'd rather just move along while we can. Not that I can remember any moments in the earlier parts of the game where we showed anything that could be considered mercy. Hell, what even is mercy in a world where nobody seems to fight to the death? Again, I've gone through far too many gritty, brutal games, and this game was a step in a more light-hearted direction. If anything, I can easily imagine Jack here being more ruthless in some ways than most trainers as a reflection of me being so much more used to worlds in some version of a war. He is, after all, an avatar of me in this world. Not that we have any actual character choices to help define who the player character is. This is, after all, a game where the player character is a complete blank slate, and the only things we determine are how our trainer battles and what Pokemon our trainer has on his or her team at the time. Oh, what a surprise! The water type did not last long against the grass type that was 6 levels stronger than it. Ah! Birds while we're still at sea! That's a change of pace, though it probably wouldn't be if Wingull had been a thing in the first generation. Unfortunately, the player choosing to fly wouldn't have been able to get to this specific location. If we had the HM, then we'd be limited to flying to towns and cities that we've already visited. Though considering just how little draw there is in any of the towns and cities once we beat their respective dungeons and or gym leaders, I wouldn't really call that an especially useful ability. Hell, Red Team doesn't even have a single flyer at all. Not after we retired Mig. Much as I wouldn't mind having that bird still fighting by our side, the fact of the matter is that a pure flying type doesn't really bring all that much to the table, especially in this generation. Hell, one of the draws of the 3 legendary birds is how powerful they would be for their secondary typing. Not how powerful they are as flyers, so giving them the move Fly or Wing Attack wouldn't be a bad idea. At least I assume that Wing Attack is a thing that the first generation had, even if I don't remember us seeing that move used against us at any point in this LP so far. Great. Now I'm hoping we don't hear the annoying sound of a Pokemon in critical health when this battle is over, just because of how tired Malvaback is this far into the bloody clip. Kind of wish we had some way to know exactly how much further Cinnabar is from our position here. And bullshit they can't. I damn well know that if a Pokemon that knows Surf or Cut is unconscious, you can still get them to do the move in the overworld, so there's no reason why Fly would be any different. Or maybe that's just something that's specific to whoever is blessed enough to be a player character, and everyone else operates on different rules. That would help explain why we're so much stronger than the average trainer when I don't think we're especially over-leveled compared to the gym leaders we have to deal with as we keep moving forward. And again, that makes me wonder just how many gym badges the average person generally gets in these regions. 3? Maybe less? Again, I'd like to know how society in the Pokemon world functions in the game version of things with more detail. All we know is a rather bare-bones skeleton here. Considering how few fire habitats there are in Kanto, I can't find it in me to be all that annoyed that Pokemon took over an abandoned mansion. Just like I don't care that they've taken over a power station since they aren't doing anything malicious there. And it's not like we have any motivation to enter the place since we aren't trying to capture all the Pokemon in Kanto. And now I feel the need to apologize to Zapdos, who was a very close second for my favorite legendary bird in Kanto. As nice as it would be to play with that bird, both as an opponent and as one of our team, we just don't have any slots on the team for him. And since he's not obstructing our progress for bullshit reasons like the rockets, there's no reason to go out of our way to get at him. Possibly why later generations would make the legendaries more tied to the main story, so players wouldn't just choose not to go after the superpowered monster that's by many measurable means much stronger than all the other monsters we come across in a given region. so we weren't that far from land. Not that there was any indication with that camera angle. Not in this world, apparently, with the sole exception of the Pokemon we've shared this journey with. As a side note, that bit of dialogue always felt like kind of an insult when I was younger, especially since back then I was a kid who did have friends, but nobody was especially interested in trading Pokemon. They were more inclined back then to play GoldenEye, Super Smash 64, or Mario Kart. And again, this kind of information feels like it should have been at the start of the bloody game. Why are we reading informative bits of tutorial when we're about to get to part 64 here?